Okay, well, we can go ahead and get rolling then. So thank you, ladies, for joining me today on this call as we get to know our regional directors. Thank you so much for being here today. So first of all, I'd just like you to each introduce yourselves and tell our audience a little bit about the region that you're in charge of and what you do.
Laurie, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Laurie Ann Salmi. I'm the director of Region 12, which is the Southeast United States. I'm also the president of the Arabian Horse Association of Florida. So I wear a couple hats down here, but keeping it managed.
Perfect.
My name is Mary Smith, and I'm in my first year of my second term as Region 10 director. Region 10 encompasses Minnesota and Wisconsin, also one small club or one club in a corner of South Dakota, and a Canadian club as well. That's up by Thunder Bay. So I think we have 13 clubs total. 2 of those are internet type clubs, the Working Western one and the Arabian Breeders. They're not geographic within our area, but the rest of them are. So I've been delegate many years on and off, and currently very honored to be the director of our region, which has always been a strong region.
That's wonderful.
That you have such a diverse geographic group,
We do.
Part Canada. That's really neat.
It covers a lot of territory. But there are regions much bigger than ours that, so we really are kind of in the middle size, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you on your toes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. Well, let's move into what I really am interested to know, what brought you both to the Arabian breed. So we'll go ahead and start with Laurie, and then we'll move to Mary. So Laurie, what brought you to the Arabian horse?
Is kind of an interesting story, I think. It wasn't expected. I was in college in California, and at the time my mother was working at Ventura Farms in Thousand Oaks. And they had just hired Wendy Griffith Potts as the performance trainer at Ventura. And Wendy needed an assistant to work with her at the farm. And my mom had a picture of me jumping my horse on her desk. And Wendy said, "Who's that?" My mother said, "That's my daughter, Laurie." And probably by the weekend I was hired, and I dove headfirst into the Arabian industry at the top level, coming from a hunter jumper background. I did open hunters and a little bit of eventing most of my life, and went right into the hunters with Wendy. And the halter trainer at the time there was Greg Galloon. So, kind of started with a bit of a high standard.
For sure. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I have not looked back. Bought my first Arabian there from the Smiths, and haven't left the breed since.
That's fantastic. How about you, Mary?
Well, it's a different path than most of the directors have, I believe. Stuff in 1964, a long time ago, I got my very first horse, it was a Tennessee Walker mare, 2-year-old. And we boarded her at a small stable in Brainerd, Minnesota. And the owner of that stable and his wife had a few Arabian horses. And they took me to my first Arabian horse show, which was in I think it was a county fairgrounds, but it was an outdoor arena in Dilworth, Minnesota, which is outside of Fargo, North Dakota. And so that's where I saw my first Arabian horse show. And really, I hadn't been exposed to Arabians before then. I'd been riding walkers at a stable, not show horses, just trail horses. But seeing those horses, and especially Halima Sahib was there and made a huge impression on me, just with his presence and his confidence in the ring and the way he was shown very nicely. It just made an impression, and I joined a small Arab club that was in its, I think, second year, the Northern Minnesota Club, and I'm still a member of that club and have been involved with it on and off, pretty much all the time, except for the 12 years I was in Kentucky, but I retained my membership in it. So I came into it through being show secretary and steward and things like that in a supportive background role, not as an exhibitor. I did have a couple part Arabs over the years, but I didn't breed them or show them in Arab competitions at all. So a different path, but brought me a lot of awesome experiences.
That's
No
fascinating.
kidding.
That's
It
really
sounds like it.
cool. Yeah.
Very cool. And since you both have, such extensive experience and different experiences within the Arabian breed, what would you say your favorite aspect of being a part of the Arabian Horse Association has been throughout the years that you've been active in the industry?
I'm going to have to say the ability to meet so many different people with so many different talents all together because of the breed. I mean, I have met some of the most amazing people, the most talented people, because of it. And it seems like, even when we disagree or we argue or have issues, it's always the horse that brings us back together. And like I said, I didn't experience the Arabian until I was 20. So it's, can't imagine what I did before that. So I think it's just the ability to collaborate with so many different, very talented people with a wealth of knowledge and ability.
Yes. And I love that the horse is always the focal point at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's what
Yes.
all draws us together for sure. How about you, Mary?
Really, I would have to echo what Laurie said. And I was probably 20 when I got exposed to Arabs, also 19 maybe, stuff. And it is, a lot of it is the people, the interacting with a network of individuals that are 100% dedicated to the Arabian horse and to each other when they need to be. There's times when, there's conflict and stuff, but when you come right down to it, and I'm sure this is the same in a lot of similar breed organizations, they have really good people, but I think ours are especially good. And during my 12 years as director of licensed officials department for United States Equestrian Federation, I got to meet and get to know leaders in every discipline, all the FEI disciplines, the other breeds, and found all of those people to be people I could learn from and bring some of those ideas to the Arabian industry and the world in how we do certain things and stuff. So it's certainly the people who are dedicated to the horses that is really what keeps me involved. And I can honestly say that my closest friends are from the horse world, 99% of those from the Arabian world stuff.
That's cool.
We have a great group of people, great collaborative, passionate group of folks for sure. So kind of moving on from this question, it's kind of a fun one. What's one of your favorite memories with Arabian horses?
One? Just one?
I know, right? Tough to answer, just one.
I think I'm going to go with a, what I would consider like a defining type memory. It was at Nationals in Louisville. I was pregnant with my first son. I was showing my half Arab mare there, and the trainer at the time, a good friend of mine, Mike Wilson, was showing her in the open halter stock hunter type back when, there was actually like 30 people in a halter class. And we were out in the makeup ring, and they had just called out the top 10. And, I was hysterical because, my horse just went top 10, and Mike was all excited because the horse went top 10. And I just remember him telling me, go inside, get on the rail, and just enjoy watching her trot in and get her ribbon. And it was just like, all the hard work, everything that you do, all the sacrifices that you make, and to see it get rewarded tangibly was pretty amazing. And to see, her trot in, and there were people in the stands and the green shavings. And I mean, it was just a pivotal moment, I think. It's the icing on the cake. It's not what it's all about, but that is I'll never forget how I felt. And I had shown at nationals before, and I've shown since, but that particular one was pretty profound.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I love that. Love that. It's a definitely sometimes when we have those moments, what we remember the most is how we felt, you know,
Right.
and that's always the thing that we remember. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What about you, Mary?
Well, not having shown or anything, but I guess I would have to say just being involved as a volunteer, and especially at like Sport Horse Nationals, I've scribed there now for 11 years for both dressage and in hand, depending on what year, and have scribed at FEI reining events. Weren't Arabs in that particular event, but still it was a very pivotal equine experience, I guess to say, to have that honor of being a scribe at the World Equestrian Games for reining and things like that. And, you know, just appreciating the people around and looking around. And if people had told me when I was 21, 25 even, that you're going to do these things in your life, I would have laughed in their faces, because I've always been a very quiet, work in the background type person, would never have ever even dreamed of accomplishing some of the things that I've been able to do because of involvement in the Arabian horse world.
Oh, that's so cool. And honestly, people that like our volunteers and all of our scribes and all of the people that work at the gates at our shows, they're so important and so integral to making the events run like they should and run, you know, seamlessly. So, and what a cool experience to see firsthand, you know, as a scribe, you get to watch these high level horses and high level athletes perform. So that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that, Mary.
And one thing about it too, I can come at it without any conflict of interest or any agenda, other than making it easier for people to do it right when you come to doing exams and stuff like that, which I help with the EEC. But I also have to give a lot of thanks to my husband and my family for supporting me in this stuff. My husband and I have been married 54 years. Wow. And we have 2 grown kids, a son and a daughter, 4 grandchildren, mostly grown, and 6 great-grandchildren now. So yeah.
That's so
cool.
But you know, when my husband is not a horse person, never has been, he's never going to be. But he has been supportive in the things that I have wanted to do. And the same with my kids. You know, they learned how to take phone messages when I was secretary of horse shows, because people would call and we didn't have emails and stuff. Well, they learned what the message pad was for and what they're supposed to do at an early age, you know.
That's great.
And stuff. So it really, I have to give a lot of credit to my family for allowing me the time and space to do a lot of these things and stuff.
That's
Absolutely.
really
Horses are such a family affair too. Love it.
Yeah, in our family, they had to help with chores, but other than that, they you know, because we had our horses on our own hobby farm, so I took care of them all the time. And so the kids learned how to do that, but other than our daughter showing in 4-H with a half Arab for 1 year, that was their only involvement that way, but they still had to help with chores.
Oh, still so cool though, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to move on. So thought it would be fun to do a this or that segment. It's just kind of fun. It gives people a chance to see your preferences and, you know, what you prefer with horses or anything like that. So I'll ask you both a this or that question, and you just pick which one you would prefer. So I'll start with Western or English.
English.
Western.
Western, nice.
Probably
And
working
then-
Western when you come right down to it. It'd be working.
English side saddle would be me. That's my favorite discipline is English side saddle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, how about trails or arena?
Trails, 100%, because that's what I did with my horses, trail riding, a lot of it.
as long as I can do flat work wherever I go, because I like the flat work training. So I could do it in a field, I could do it on a trail, I could do it in an arena. But in Florida in the summer, arena, because it has a cover.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, I'm sure.
some
Yes.
shade, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay, how about summer or winter?
Well, as far as doing anything with horses, when you live in Minnesota, it's going to be summer. Unless
And
you
in
have an
Florida,
arena,
you
it's
want to
gonna
be, you
summer.
want it to be winter because it's too high. It's so hot in the summer. I mean, you want to be in the air conditioning. So it would have to be winter for me and summer for you, Mary.
Yep.
So funny, different climates, with
Yes.
the horses. It makes a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. You have to remember Canada is on the top side of Minnesota. So,
Mhm.
It's a good point. You get some harsh winters, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Okay, how about polo wraps or splint boots?
Polo wraps for sure.
yeah, I would agree. Polo wraps.
My polo wraps. So
And then thanks for playing that quick game. That was fun. So before we conclude today, I just wanted to open it up if you have any other final thoughts, information that you wanted to speak on that you didn't get a chance to say during the main part of this call today.
Mary, you want to go?
Okay, I would just like to talk just a little bit about mentoring people. And one of the biggest mentors in my life in the Arab world was Marianne Grimmell. She lived in Minnesota, was a steward at the time I met her. Her husband eventually became president of AHA, and then Marianne was eventually president of AHA. She was a role model for many of us throughout her life. And part of my goal as being Region 10 director is trying to help being a mentor to younger generations. We have so many talented people who have careers in many areas, but are showing horses or just involved that we need to tap for leadership roles and volunteer positions, things like that. And so that is really one of my biggest goals, has been to pull in a few new people, not new to the breed, but new to volunteering, new to leadership. And so far, the people I've tapped for this have been very happy to become involved in something. They didn't know really what they wanted to do, but they knew they'd like to do something. So I think that's a very important aspect for me as director, is to help. We're very top heavy in our region anyway on the age of delegates. A lot of us are up there, in further years, and we're not pulling in as many younger people to serve in those positions for whatever reasons and stuff. So that is part of what I think we, at least myself as director, have as a goal.
That's great. And that is so important. And kind of to elaborate on that side of a little bit, I mean, mentorship is very important. And I think another role that we play as directors, or just in any leadership role, is that it's an important responsibility that we make sure that we help clubs, help other organizations, other shows, whatever opportunities that we have, and also if we don't know, as personal, if there's something that we don't know, we call smart people who do know. And we make sure that we surround ourselves with people who have the talents that we may need to tap into. And that's something that was really important to me when I took this position, is that trying to reach out to our very large region with our 14, 15 clubs and try to help them in whatever way they need. And with the changes in the qualifications and the changes in the industry and the need to build from the bottom up, grassroots level up, create new business, that is the shifting focus, at least in Florida. We have new riding clubs at Arabian training farms that have been established for a long time, and you're seeing the national level trainers starting their riding academies, which are so important, and trying to get the clubs to focus on ways to draw in more people. And it's the helping aspect, and it's not always going to be at the top levels of this industry where the big change needs to take place. I mean, that the national level, they're doing okay. Everything's good up there. I mean, it's financially solid, but we need to build the base so that we can keep supporting the top. And that is a big focus in my region, is trying to figure out a way to grow our base larger. And I think mentoring goes on so many levels, not just in bringing leadership up, just like Mary said, but bringing new people into the breed and helping the clubs, the organizations, the training barns figure out ways to better market themselves, market the industry, expose new people. It's a big goal, but I have never stepped down or stepped away from anything big and challenging. I'm not afraid of change. So, yeah.
Yep, I agree 100%, Laurie. And also we look at endurance and competitive trail riding has always been quite strong in the upper Midwest. And of course, Arabs excel in these sports and stuff. So that's another area as director that I try to make sure our regional championship ride has the same awards that our regular show does, and that we try to promote those aspects of it, because there's a lot of Arabian owners that's what they want to do. And, to try to get some of them involved with things as well. There was one other topic that I would like to talk about, if there's nothing else to add with this one, if we still have a little bit more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is social media. I know this is, it's a big deal. I mean, it's important. It's a constant in our lives, and it can be helpful as well as hurtful. This interview is a very good example to the positive of social media. But I want to encourage everybody who is listening to this, or at any time, to listen to all sides of an issue, evaluate the facts, then make your decision. But support each other, support your region. And once decisions have been made, whether it's in your club or at your regional or at the national level, support that decision as this is what we're doing going forward. You might not agree with it 100%, but help make it work. Or help improve it as it goes on, as areas can improve, and they always will. But don't want to discount social media at all, because it's very important, but it is discouraging at times, some of the things that you read, and it's like, where are they getting these ideas? These aren't, we need to do more research and having more things out there, but I will not engage in the arguments either, because that is not shown to be productive, to be honest.
And I agree. Social media has its place. It can be great, and it can be incredibly destructive very quickly, like wildfire. And it needs to be handled responsibly, which is why, and if I engage in a thread, it's going to be a piece of factual information. It's, a very small, it's not meant to engage in conversation, because that is not the format. That is not the place to do it. If someone wants to ask me a question, I'm happy to talk to them. They can call me, send me an email. But it's just because it's not a real-time conversation that you're having on social media. It can, there could be a delay. People can, read and respond. It's just not conducive to answering the question or solving the problem. If anything, it just creates more drama. And I think that's a really good point, Mary, that we keep it in its place and make sure that we encourage people to, just like you said, fact check, make sure you have all the information before you make or hopefully you wouldn't even make an opinion on social media, but to make sure that they understand fully what's happening. Is that, I think we all know that there are some things that we can't share per our, confidentiality clause. And members just need to trust that the people they elected are doing things in their best interest.
Yeah, exactly. And Region 10 has had pretty much all the directors that I've known through the many years of being a delegate have been strong individuals who have been good leaders within our region. And we have a very cohesive region, which I appreciate a lot, even though we don't always agree on things, we listen to each other and respect each other's opinions, and come to a consensus for the most part on how to go forward. And, you know, that's the whole thing. We have a lot of challenges, but we have equal amount of opportunities, you know, and that's where we need to focus, is on our opportunities.
Absolutely.
For sure. We have lots of opportunities to grow the breed. And I know that from a staff perspective, we have new people that want to learn more about our Arabian horses all the time. So there's definitely lots of opportunities out there to get a good base, like you said, Laurie, and be positive and really move the equine industry forward. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on this podcast. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate your time sharing a little bit more about yourselves and your experiences in the industry. It's been really great to get to know you both a little bit more.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Katie. And I hope that people will look at other things to do besides showing, look at volunteering, you don't always have to be in the show ring. There are a lot of ways to become involved with the Arabian breed. And I can certainly share how that path can take you. But thank you, Katie, again. And thanks to Deborah for setting this whole thing up.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.